It is with the greatest joy that I tell you we're about to embark on a new series on the programme. We're Destination Newry, of course. It is the morning programme. I'm Rowan and this is Raymond McCabe.
Morning, Ron.
An icon with the greatest Chippendale legs in the world, dare I suggest. Raymond's of McCabe's Fine Furnishings, been in Newry, now in the 6th generation, and it's the beginning of our take on there's a program, a very famous program, Desert Island Discs. That's, of course, not what we're doing today because that's a unique program in its own. But we're shooting the breeze about the old times that we both remember because McCabe's of Mary Street. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't the first address. But I have the commonality there because I was hand of Mary Street as well. And I used to play up and down in the yard.
The old yard, yeah.
The old yard. Next, between Ma Graham's and Mrs. Devlin's.
That's correct, yeah.
And you were across the street. Your daddy was...
My grandfather lived across the street, number 12.
How did it all start? Now, my mind's eye tells me very, very, very humble beginnings.
There would have been, Ron, but like, you're much older than me, of course.
I am, I'm 70.
Yes. Oh, thank you. And you wouldn't maybe know more than me, but anyway, I'll try and fill you in as what I know. My grandfather...
Are you comfortable in that chair?
I'm great in this chair.
You're sort of sitting like that.
Yeah. Do you want me to lounge back?
I want you to be at ease.
You need a finer chair. My grandfather, McCabe, that would be Johnny. People would know him as.
Yeah, he was the man I knew.
He was the man you knew. Before that, there was a gentleman called Paddy McCabe.
From Belfast as well?
From Belfast.
Yeah.
And we came across old billheads, old invoice receipt books. And he was cabinet maker and clothing and bric-a-brac.
Yes.
And I think he came from the Smithfield area.
Sounds about right, doesn't it?
And there's just no Smithfield address.
Yeah.
So, as far as I'm aware, my grandfather Johnny came to started Newry Market.
Yes. And would he have come up from Belfast on the train with his basket of stuff or his lorry load of stuff that he wanted?
Going by what my dad tells me, they put their furniture and their bric-a-brac on the train, as you say, came up and maybe took it from the central station in Newry by a handcart.
Yes.
To what we call Mary Street Wall at the market.
Mary Street Wall at the market.
Which is on the Mary Street side.
Yeah.
And it's been said that they would leave their goods there from a Thursday to a Saturday under a tarpaulin cover.
And they were safe.
Yeah.
And those were the days where all the stalls were covered in canvas, tarpaulins.
Tarpaulin canvas. And my grandfather started in Newry. I don't know the exact date.
Yeah.
I assume it could have been early 20s.
Well, it was certainly 70 years ago because I remember as a child running around your yard, and he was well established then. Mm-hmm. And so if he was there from the early 20s, he was a unique man. What's your memory of him? Small
Man, cap, head in the paper, doing the horses. Somebody come in, he'd go and serve them. And always nervous about him, about the horses. He was a great man for gambling.
Yeah.
I suppose that was his life in buying and selling furniture. And he came through the tough times, the wars and so on.
Yeah.
Good-natured man. A great man for people around him, for local people.
I always remember him as a man. In my mind's eye, I see him as... I can see a wee shake in him, and he went straight. He was in, you know.
Yeah.
He was quick. Like a terrier.
He was quick.
He was
very quick,
yeah. That's an accurate enough memory, is it?
Yeah, very much so,
yeah. The yard now in Mary Street. First of all, we haven't come to the yard yet. We're against the wall of the market.
Yes, yeah.
And you were in there. There's people there. There was, Curtis was in the market. The butcher.
Yeah, Malachi Curtis was there, yeah.
Phillips were there.
Phillips, they're still there.
Yeah. And then the other person who was there was Mickey Boyle from Mary Street. He sold herrings in the market.
Very good. Right.
And those were all those days, you know.
But I suppose Mary Street them there, Ron, there was a chap at the top of the street did wallpaper on the corner.
Jack Daly's.
Jack Daly's.
Yeah. And he was a chemist as well.
Was he a chemist?
Jack Daly was a chemist who did wallpaper and who did pet mice. You could get your pets. It was a pet shop. did wallpaper. He was a chemist.
I can smell his shop passing it now. You know, the smell of the old wallpaper
Absolutely.
paste, and there was a cellar under it.
There was a yard out the back of it.
Right.
There were two big gates that opened up. And next door to him, as you walked down Mary Street, you came across the Emporium, another furniture shop.
Correct.
O'Reilly's.
O'Reilly's, yeah.
And that was Owen Riley.
Yeah.
And he was the man who had the child that made the great transport company.
That's correct.
One of Owen Riley's children,
Eugene.
Liam and Eugene started that business of transportation. And I remember so well, Eugene used to keep pigs and hens and chickens out the back for instance the canal, the river.
Right.
And he would be there, and he would always have collected the bits and pieces of leftovers from the houses to feed the chickens and the pigs.
From listening to my father's talking about them times, businesses, they helped out each other.
Yes.
If somebody was stuck for something, they lent it or borrowed or moved. They all had families to feed.
Yes. Yeah.
And transport, there's no real big transport then. As I say, the hand cart.
Yes.
My father tells me the story one time of him and his sister, my Aunt Eileen, who passed away a long time ago.
Her. I remember Eileen so well.
My dad and Eileen were taken to Dorans Hill.
Yeah.
But they were used for the brakes on the trolley or the hand cart.
So you were delivering to Dorans Hill?
They either were buying or collecting or delivering, but they were used as brakes with ropes to hold the hand cart coming down the hill.
So your dad would have been your grandfather.
My grandfather would have been the driver.
Would have been the driver between the shafts. And there would have been two ropes.
And the two kids would have
Eileen had one of the ropes.
Yeah, and Huey.
And Huey had the other rope.
Yeah.
And that's how you did the thing.
So
God, they were clever people.
Yeah.
Clever people indeed.
And also was a remark one time that they started buying furniture in Glasgow.
Yeah.
And they took, they used to take furniture on the open sugar boat.
That came into the basin?
They came on up.
Into Newry?
Right up into Newry.
Right up, right,
No,
almost round the back of Mary Street.
Well, I think where Fincy Toners was a sugar.
Oh, yes, down. So the swing bridge would have opened.
Yeah, in around that area.
Yeah.
So the furniture would have been well seasoned.
Yeah, it would have been. Well, how would he have known when you know if you have travelled the world buying furniture, and we'll talk about that later. But how would they have gone over by boat to Glasgow, done the deal, and then come home, and then the delivery would have occurred?
I think the connection was my grandfather's brother had gone to Glasgow many years previous.
Similar business?
No. I don't know what the man did. And my father went out at 14 or 15 to buy, because there seemed to be plentiful in Glasgow. And he went out to buy. Now, as far as I'm aware, he went by boat from Belfast, open boat. Them times it wouldn't have went to Stranraer, it would probably went into Glasgow, the boat.
Yes.
Probably a 6-7 hour trip. So that's how we get into Glasgow. Up the Clyde, yeah, that's how you get into Glasgow.
Indeed. Well, I have the fondest memories of your establishment, your family. And when I went to college in Belfast, there were no such things as phones in the houses.
No.
There was a phone in one house, and that was McCabe's. And your mummy and daddy always made us welcome to make the phone call home from college in Belfast. And you'd say, Mrs. McCabe or Eileen or Mr. McCabe, I'm very sorry for bothering you, but would you go over to number 5 and maybe I could speak to Minnie and Nanny or my mummy? And they'd bring them over, and you'd be on the... So it was a real mobile phone in those days. That was the way it was. But good neighbourliness.
Can you remember the number?
No, I can't.
You can't?
I can't.
2695 was the old Newry number.
2695.
2695. I think what it was, the phone was in the house, and them days the shop, there was a call button that it came through to one side, or you pressed it, AB type thing.
Yes.
But they were very neighbourly days. Like Peter Kinney was there. Do you remember Peter?
Kennedy. Peter Kinney was a mechanic in Roland Harris's.
Yeah.
And he was a mechanic here.
That's correct. This is part of
Roland Harris's, the studio. That's where Roland Harris's were. And Peter Kinney, he would work here. He had a great trick that he could put his hand down and hold the spark plug, and he didn't get electrocuted. I remember that. So there's Peter Kinney, there was Matt Kane.
Matt Kane.
And Matt was a docker.
That's correct, yeah.
Then further down, there was Mr. Marley, he was a plumber.
Yeah, I didn't
Further
know
on
him.
down, there was Mr. Lundy, he was a docker.
Yes, yeah,
His
yeah.
son Jackie went to America
Yeah.
and joined the Marines. Straight across the street from there, we had the McGuigans,
Yeah, Ms. McGuigan, yeah.
Ms. McGuigan.
Yeah.
Heading on up, there's the Delahunts,
Pascal Kearney.
Pascal Kearney, the Delahunts. Then we had Mrs. Devlin,
Mrs. Devlin was up near the old yard.
near the old yard,
Yeah.
next door to it,
Yeah.
really. And then there was McParlin's. They were there for a time.
Was Goss's there at one stage?
No, I can't remember. Mrs. Goss was across the street on your end
Right.
of it. That's it. Yeah.
And your brother lived further down your path?
My father's family lived at number 20.
Oh, right,
My
right.
father, you see, my father lived in number 20. My mother lived in number 5.
Right.
So my father caught eye on my mother,
Right.
singled her out for his amorous intentions. They fell in love and they married.
Okay.
And my father was a shop assistant in McKnight's around the corner.
Right.
And my mother sold millinery in Cahill Flynn's on Hill Street,
Right.
which is down just next door to Jack Murphy's Jewelers.
Okay.
On the corner there. So that was it. But the thing, I'm going to play you a piece of music now, not letting you choose this piece because I'm choosing this piece of music in memory of your father, your grandfather, because he always struck me. And down the yard, and the grandeur of the furniture, and the polish and the sheen, it always reminded me of fine old ways and fine old houses. And the piece I'm going to play for you now is by Sumi Joe, and it's I dreamt, I slept in marble halls.
Very good.
And here we have it, Andrew.